slide where we compared trabeculectomy with mitomycin C with trabeculectomy with subconjunctival bevacizumab. As we all know, glaucoma is the second leading cause of blindness worldwide. Medically refractive glaucoma needs surgery, trabeculectomy being the current gold standard. But trabeculectomy is prone to fibrosis and subsequent failure. Hence, the agents, antifibrotic agents like MMC and 5-fluorouracil came into play. But they have their own set of complications like hypotony, blood leaks, and endophthalmitis. As we know, vascular endothelial growth factor drives fibrosis via angiogenesis. It has also been seen to have a direct effect on fibroblast migration and proliferation, VEGF 189 specifically being implicated. Bevacizumab, as we all know, is a humanized monoclonal antibody directed against all biologically active forms of VEGF-A. It has been used as an off-label drug in various vitreoretinal pathologies, neovascular glaucoma, and as an adjunct with trabeculectomy and bleb revision. Bevacizumab in neovascular glaucoma has been seen to reduce the IOP in the absence of striatum sinicae. When given subconjunctivally near the bleb at the earliest signs of neovascularization, it has been seen to reduce the neovascularization and lead to a better IOP control. So we aimed at comparing the outcome of trabeculectomy with mitomycin C versus trabeculectomy with subconjunctival bevacizumab. We had 50 eyes of 50 glaucoma patients, 28 randomized to receive mitomycin C and 22 to bevacizumab. The patients more than 18 years of age with either primary, secondary, open or closed annular glaucoma with an IOP of more than 21 millimeters of mercury, despite the use of anti-glaucoma medications were included. The patients with failed trabeculectomies or who were undergoing concurrent cataract surgery, pregnant lactating females, and patients with active uveitis were excluded. The application of MMC was done with a cellulose sponge. It was applied at the intended site of the scleral flap for 1 or 2 minutes. Bevacizumab was injected subconjunctivally at the end of the surgery. Follow-ups were done on the post-operative day 1, week 1, 2, 4, 8 and 12 weeks. At each follow-up, the best corrected visual acuity, the intraocular pressure, number of IOP lowering medications, complications, bleb morphologic features according to the IBACS criteria, mercury, pressure on more than one anti-glaucoma medications were considered to be failures. Coming to the results, the baseline characteristics in both the groups were comparable. At 3 months in IOP, without any anti-glaucoma medication, that was achieved in 46.4% patients in the MMC group and 50% patients in the bevacizumab. Acuity, as seen, did not differ pre-op to the post-op, but there was no significant difference at 3 months in both the groups. The bleb similarly in the bevacizumab group, we again achieved diffuse and healthy blebs. So complete success was achieved in 53% of patients in the MMC group and 54% of patients in the bevacizumab group. The cumulative probabilities of total success at 3 months was 73% in MMC and 81% in bevacizumab. The complications like choroidal detachment, tenon cyst, bleb revision and needling with fibrofuse to be more physiologically stimulating option to modulate post-operative fibrosis that will lead to better bleb survival and IOP control. Also, bevacizumab has a half-life of 20 days, which would allow its presence during the wound healing phase, which starts from about 3rd day of post-surgery. There have been studies in which they have shown that the bevacizumab blebs are histopathologically superior to the MMC blebs. There was a similar study where they compared MMC with subconjunctival bevacizumab. They showed a better control of IOP with MMC, but the bleb morphological characteristics were similar in both the groups. Another study found MMC to be better than bevacizumab. In our study, we had 52% and 39% reduction from the baseline IOPs, but this difference, the difference between two groups was not statistically significant. The number of medications required for each group were also similar. There was no statistically significant difference between the bleb morphological characteristics, but we saw that bevacizumab augmented trabeculectomies had more vascular and diffuse blebs as compared to MMC, and hence would favor the bleb survival. Failure rates were also comparable in both the groups, as were the complications. So what was already known of bevacizumab in glaucoma, that it can be used as an adjunct for neovascular glaucoma, as a bleb salvage for failing blebs. It has antifibrotic and anti-angiogenic effects on wound healing in bevacizumab augmented trabeculectomies. What our study adds, ours is one of the few studies that compared subconjunctival bevacizumab directly with MMC trabeculectomies, and we found that it can be a useful and safe adjunct trabeculectomy with significant reduction in IIP and favor a better bleb morphology. Our study also had both primary and secondary glaucomas, and so it can be extrapolated to various kinds of glaucomas. But use of bevacizumab is currently an off-label application, and the appropriate dosage, the route of administration, duration of action, and the long-term effects have still to be studied. The limitation is a very short follow-up for the study, and in conclusion, it can be a safe adjunct to trabeculectomy. It can also be used as bleb salvage. The limitations being its higher cost.